Assalamualaikum Doctor, I'm Adlyn and together with my partner Novelia, we are going to present our project entitled Critical Discourse Analysis of Muhyiddin Yassin's and Donald Trump's Political Speeches on COVID-19. Critical discourse analysis is a research method that is used to study the language use of function in discourse. By using CDA, we can study the way social power abuse, dominance, or inequality that are imposed, reproduced, or resisted by the discourse. Discourse is a form of social practice, either written or spoken. It is also considered to be a part of communication event that can be used in conveying thoughts and feelings. Some of the examples of discourse are political speeches, newspaper articles, and annual reports. Besides, discourse is often used as a medium to mediate ideology and promote power in social practice. This is to maintain or reproduce social relationships, social identities, knowledge, or belief. Coronavirus disease 2019, or commonly known as COVID-19, is an infectious respiratory disease. The first case was reported in China on 31st December 2019. Due to its fast spreading rate, WHO has declared COVID-19 as a pandemic and advising each country to take serious safety precautions in preventing the further spread. Due to this, we are interested to see how country leaders react and address COVID-19 to the people. In this study, we are going to analyze two speeches, one from our Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin for local context, and the second speech is from Donald Trump, the President of United States, for the overseas context. Based on our readings, we found out that CDA done on speeches, especially political speeches, is pretty common. They are all done in finding the hidden meaning or message that may lie behind the speeches through the relationship between ideology, language, and power. In a study done by Jolin Wong, 2010, she was able to come up with important findings on Barack Obama's speeches. By using Halliday's systemic functional grammar framework to analyze, she found that Obama used simple words and sentences, first-person pronouns, and religious belief in order to shorten the social distance with the Americans. Furthermore, he also included material process in his speech, entailing government achievement, what government are doing, and what government will do to show government objective and also to gain confidence from the Americans. The use of modal verbs and simple present tense and future tense are also believed to be used in order to build the American confidence on him and the government. In another study, Radiman Junaidi 2012 did a CDA on Abdullah Ahmad Badawi's speeches by using FATCLA three-dimensional framework. In his findings, he found that Abdullah used intertextuality by involving interaction of letter with earlier text to show intellectualism in quality and style. Furthermore, Abdullah utilized variety of discourse in his speech, such as interceptive and collaborative, and dialectical discourse in order to reflect his emotion, objective, and thoughts to the audience. Radiman also found that Abdullah used first-person pronouns such as we to display the message of inclusiveness and togetherness. Moreover, Abdullah found to be using metaphor in order to invite audience to involve in thinking. Also utilized a few concepts to show his acknowledgement on the power of people, tolerance, and the freedom of speech. And lastly, his speech portrayed Islamic-oriented ideology from the application of Islamic text vocabulary. These studies show that CDA on political speeches allow us to find out about the speaker's ideology and identity through the language they use. With the hope to contribute new knowledge to CDA and sociolinguistic field, we are going to do CDA on Muhyiddin Yassin's and Donald Trump's political speech on COVID-19. The objective of the study are to identify the linguistic patterns used in Muhyiddin's and Trump's speeches and to study the ideologies behind the speeches.
There are two research questions in this study. The first one is, what are the linguistic patterns used by Muhyiddin and Trump in their speeches? The second question is, what are the ideologies behind their speeches? Moving on to literature review. Critical discourse analysis. For the study, we are doing critical discourse analysis on the Muhyiddin and Trump's speeches regarding COVID-19 pandemic. According to Fairclough 1992, CDA is an approach which incorporates both language studies and social theory. In other words, CDA reveals the relationship between language and the society, focuses on how language is used to spread hidden ideologies and represent power. CDA has been employed in many studies to investigate how language is used in different ways in spreading ideologies. For instance, a study by Masood and Ilahi 2015 aimed to identify the linguistic patterns used by Obama and Rouhani in their political speeches in UN, which allowed them to manifest ideologies and power through language. The speeches was analyzed using Halliday's SFG systemic functional grammar, and the results revealed that Obama used simpler words and shorter sentences in his speech, while Rouhani used rather difficult and formal words in his speech. Both Obama and Rouhani used personal pronouns like we to show sense of intimacy with audience. Another study done by Handayani et al. 2018 was to analyze the ways that Trump used in delivering political speeches by employing the three-dimension framework 1995 by Fairclough. The theme of the speech was Trump's statement about Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. Results revealed that Trump used various ways in his speech, which included the ways of selecting vocabulary, the ways of voice, the ways of mood, and the ways of transitivity. For instance, Trump used the model must to show certainty and determination in his decision. Besides that, a study by David and Domanic 2011 investigated on the ways that Tun Dr. Mahathir, our former Prime Minister, used when constructing national unity in multi-ethnic Malaysia through his speeches. The speeches were analyzed using the three-dimension framework 1995 by Fairclough. The results show that, over the years, Tun Dr. Mahathir had been projecting national unity through his speeches, which he believed would improve the country economically. At the same time, he was seen biased towards the Malay community, which he would always explain that the Malay community needed more help than the other races like Chinese, whom was seen more economically stable according to Tun Dr. Mahathir. This study employs the systemic functional grammar framework developed by Halliday based on grammatical description. Language is described as an interlocking options or network systems for creating meanings. Language conveys social meaning, and grammatical systems provide a basis for explaining the meanings of different kinds. The language will be represented with the speeches by both Muhyiddin and Trump. The speeches will then be analyzed using SFG framework. This SFG framework consists of three kinds of semantic units. First, ideational meta-function. Second, interpersonal meta-function. And the last one, textual meta-function. The ideational meta-function refers to those functions that provide a basis for understanding human experience as a kind of resource for realizing the reality, according to Halliday in 1994. The analysis of the text based on this ideational function consists of transitivity and voice. Transitivity system represents ideational function in grammar. Transitivity system comprises 6 processes, which are material processes, relational processes, mental processes, verbal processes, behavioral processes, and existential processes. The interpersonal meta-function can be explained as the attitude, personalization, and place of the speaker. Modality and mood are used to express interpersonal functions. For instance, how positive is the speaker when speaking, or the roles of both speaker and hearer in the conversation. Textual meta-function looks at the cohesion within a text. In other words, how a speaker organizes his speech. Through analysis based on this framework, the ideologies of both Trump and Muhyiddin will be identified.